Hey everyone, welcome back to VoxQueue. Today we've got some wild ones. Grab a drink, settle in, and let's get into it. There is a very specific kind of person who operates on the assumption that if they say something confidently enough, it becomes true. Not because they believe the facts support them, but because they have learned somewhere along the way that most people will back down before the evidence comes out. Most people will second-guess themselves. Most people will absorb the doubt and walk away. These three stories are about the rare cases where that strategy ran directly into something it could not talk its way past: a kitchen camera, a DM screenshot, and a forwarded email thread, each one sitting quietly in the background while the lie was being told out loud. Our first story comes from a woman named Leah. Leah had been dealing with a small but genuinely aggravating problem for about 3 weeks running. Her phone charger kept disappearing during family visits. Not gone permanently, just moved, unplugged, borrowed without asking, and returned to the wrong place, or not returned at all. She had live-in family members and a cousin named Sean who came through every other weekend. Sean was relaxed about other people's things in a way that only works when nobody pushes back. Leah pushed back. She asked him once, casually. He laughed it off. She asked again, more directly this time. He looked genuinely offended, like the question itself was the problem. He told her he had no idea what she was talking about and that she might want to check her own room more carefully. She let it sit for a day. Then she set up a small camera covering the kitchen charging area. Basic recording app, phone mounted on a shelf, nothing dramatic. She just wanted to know. 3 days later, during Sean's next visit, she checked the footage. There he was. Clear angle, no ambiguity. Sean unplugging her charger from the wall, wrapping the cord around his hands slowly, and walking out of frame with it like it had always been his. She watched it twice. She didn't say anything when he came back downstairs. She sat with it through the afternoon. And then at dinner, Sean mentioned casually that he still hadn't seen her charger around and maybe she should check her room again. She looked at him for just a moment, then she picked up her phone and played the clip across the table. The whole family was right there. Sean watched himself on screen. He went completely still. No explanation came, no apology, just a long pause, and then a very focused interest in whatever was on his plate. The room was quiet in the specific way rooms get quiet when everyone sees something at the same time and nobody knows what to say first. The charger came back that evening. What made it land so cleanly was not just the footage, it was the timing. He had suggested she go look for it herself right before she pressed play. That detail made it something else entirely. Our second story involves a friend group and a woman named Alyssa. James had been part of a close friend group for years, the kind of group that has shared history, running jokes, group chats, and the general assumption that everyone is being straight with each other. Things started feeling slightly off a few months before the reunion trip. Inside references he was not part of, plans that seemed already settled before they were officially brought up, a low-level sense that something was being discussed one layer beneath what he could see. The group had a reunion weekend coming up, and Alyssa was the admin of the main chat. She was engaged, friendly, always present in the conversation, the kind of person who made you feel like everything was fine. And then everything shifted. A mutual friend sent James a screenshot privately. There was a second group chat. Alyssa had created it, running parallel to the main one, and James was not in it. That part alone stings, but the content was worse. Alyssa had posted a poll asking whether James should be quietly rotated out of the group's social plans because, in her exact phrasing, he brought the energy down. There were responses, real ones, from people who had been sitting in the main chat with him, laughing along, acting normal that same week. James read it, set his phone down, and then showed up to the reunion exactly as planned. He was relaxed, he was present, he let the first day go completely normally. And then on the second evening, when the whole group was together in one room, he opened the screenshot on his phone, set it face up on the table, and said nothing. He did not accuse anyone, he did not raise his voice, he just placed it there and waited while the room caught up with what they were looking at. Alyssa started to explain, something about it being a bit of a joke, something about not being serious. But the people who had voted were sitting in that same room, and their faces were doing the explaining for them.
Some apologized right away. Some could not make direct eye contact. One person left the room briefly for no stated reason. Alyssa pulled James aside later and told him the group wanted him there. He thanked her, said he appreciated that, and on the drive home he quietly removed himself from both chats without any announcement. That kind of restraint is genuinely hard, and it is almost always more effective than volume. Our third story is the one that stays with you. Marcus worked at a mid-sized company under a manager named Derek. Marcus was the kind of employee who documented everything. He sent confirmation emails. He kept organized records, not out of paranoia, but out of a clear-eyed understanding that when something goes wrong, the person with the clearest paper trail tends to come out of it better. He had learned that the hard way early in his career, and it had never left him. Marcus had a deadline-critical report that Derek had been following up on for 2 weeks. Marcus finished it on time, wrote a clean subject line, attached the document, and sent it directly to Derek's email. He got the delivery confirmation, he noted the time, he moved on to his next task. Derek called a team meeting. In front of Marcus's colleagues, Derek stated clearly that the report had never been received. He let a silence sit after that. Then he said the team could not keep moving forward without it, and that accountability mattered. He used that word, accountability. He said it in the measured, carefully weighted tone that some managers use when they want something to feel like a fact rather than an accusation, the kind of tone that dares you to push back in front of everyone. Here's what they didn't expect. Marcus had the email thread open on his laptop before Derek finished the sentence. He sat quietly and let Derek complete the whole thing, every word. Then he said calmly that he could forward the thread to everyone in the room right now if that would help move things forward. Derek paused, a visible pause. Marcus forwarded it. The room went still in a way that is hard to describe. You could feel it. People stopped looking at Derek and started looking at their screens as the email came through. The timestamp was there, the delivery receipt was there, the subject line was there. Everything Derek had just said was sitting directly against everything the email confirmed, and everyone in that meeting was doing the math in real time. Derek said something about checking his folders, something about a possible filter issue. He moved on to the next agenda item fairly quickly after that. Marcus received a quiet commendation from Derek's supervisor 2 days later. No meeting, no announcement, just a short message acknowledging the quality of his work and his documentation habits. And that was that. Here is what all 3 of these stories are actually about. Not revenge, though the outcomes feel satisfying. Not drama, though the moments are tense. They are about a very specific miscalculation that certain people make, which is the belief that confidence can substitute for evidence. Sean assumed that Leah would keep absorbing the doubt. Alyssa assumed the second chat would stay invisible. Derek assumed that the absence of visible proof was close enough to the truth to hold up in a room full of people. All 3 were wrong for the same reason. The camera existed, the screenshot existed, the email existed. Each one quietly in place before the denial ever happened, and when the moment came, none of them needed to argue. They did not need to be louder than the other person. They did not need to convince anyone of anything. They just needed to be shown. That's the part that stays with you. Proof is not aggressive. It doesn't perform. It simply appears and lets the other person's words collapse under their own weight. If any of these felt familiar, you know exactly what I mean. Drop it in the comments. Let me know which moment hit the hardest, and we'll see you in the next one.